Hi, Gaha Brand. Nice to meet you. Last year, I finally had a chance to ride Webslingers, a Spider-Man adventure. We're about to ride Webslingers for the first time. We got glasses. It was okay. A little short, but any longer my arms would have looked like Hulk's. Anyways, I know this ride gets a lot of flack for being kinda underwhelming because it's literally the premiere ride for Avengers Campus, and it's essentially Toy Story Mania just with your fingers. And then you have the whole fiasco with these. If you didn't know, you basically have the option of buying these web tech add-ons for the Webslingers ride. When you wear these attachments on the ride, you get special powered up webs that boost your score, essentially making a theme park ride pay to win. And a lot of people really hated this idea. Obviously I didn't, because I obviously bought one, because it's not like you're forced to buy them. You can experience the full ride without paying anything extra, and they low-key just change whatever you're shooting out. Which brings me to the point of this video. I think this ride's greatest controversy can be its greatest strength. Because, as of right now, you only have the option of either buying Spider-Man's web shooters, which give you taser webs, or Iron Man's gauntlets, which give you repulsor blasts. And that's it. This is basically an attraction that gives you superpowers, but you can only mimic 2 heroes. 4 if you count the female variations of each add-on. I think Disney could really expand on this idea and make the ride just a lot more enjoyable, because imagine a cart full of 4 people and they're all shooting 4 different projectiles. But first, I want to lay out some ground rules here. Number 1, the projectile must come from the hand, so no Icarus eye beams and no Vision forehead beams, because that would fundamentally change the way the ride works. And I don't even know how you would telegraph that to the ride, that you're shooting something. I'm staring at the spider bot as hard as I can. And number 2, it has to be techie to an extent. I'm gonna break this idea a lot, but it's just to keep up with the theming of the ride. Because the premise of the ride is that you're basically in a research facility, so no one here should be shooting lasers out of their hands without any gadgets. And that's about it, we're here to have fun. But first things first, take taser webs away from the Spider-Man web shooters. Electric webs are surprisingly prominent in modern Spider-Man media, but it never really screamed Spider-Man to me. And I know it's difficult because the default projectile is already spider webs, so where do you go from there? I'm thinking maybe you could hold out your arms and shoot a continuous spray of webs, which would make targets easier to shoot. And that's what I think the web tech add-ons should be for. Changing up the gameplay of the ride. Right now, you basically just spam your arms on the ride, but I think it would be great if each web tech attachment changed the way you play. Moving on, I think a character that really fits the thematics of this ride is Ant-Man, because he has these cool particle discs that shrink and enlarge objects, not unlike what actually happens in the ride. And Disney, this really fits in with the trend of having an attachment geared towards boys and then having an attachment geared towards girls, because, you know, have Ant-Man shoot one type of disc and have Wasp shoot out another type of disc. I think out of all of these ideas, this one sounds the most viable. Well, this one and Black Widow. This is why I wanted to take away the taser webs from Spidey, because Black Widow is known for having her Widow's Bite gadget, which is essentially just an electric blast, and I think shooting them should set off a chain reaction between the spider bots. Next up is Black Panther, and you might be thinking that T'Challa doesn't have any inherent projectiles, but you would be wrong. I believe in the comics, he has these vibranium knives that he sometimes throws. I think these would work great, and you can keep the idea of kinetic energy because, say, the longer you throw them, the stronger they become. So let's say you're shooting a spider bot way in the back of the room, maybe that sets off an explosion, and that player could just focus more on spider bots in the back because that's more beneficial to them, and leave the ones more in the front for the rest of his teammates. Star-Lord is my next idea. So what if the web tech attachment wasn't on your arm? Can we sell blasters? Is that a thing? Because look at this web tech attachment, right? It has a button. You put this in ride mode. This is in ride mode right now. You have a button, you press it. It makes it blink. That indicates to me that pressing this button on the ride shoots a web, but I have no idea because I was too busy flailing my arms around. I'm going to assume it works. So same concept with the Star-Lord blasters. Just turn your blaster into ride mode and pull the trigger and it'll let the ride know that you're actually shooting stuff. Now they haven't really highlighted this in the movies, but Star-Lord's guns are actually elemental guns in the comics. He can actually shoot out any combination of the 4 elements. So imagine you're shooting out little tornadoes that can group up the spider bots for your teammates to shoot. Because don't forget you're competing against the other teams on this ride, not each other. The score on the leaderboards is actually the team score. And on to my next character, Doctor Strange. Yeah, this totally just destroys the second rule, but I feel like Doctor Strange's magic is so cool that you have to include it. I'm honestly not super sure what he would shoot out. I'm thinking of some kind of magic energy blast, but that just seems like a waste of Doctor Strange's like unique potential. Then I thought about the Sling Ring. That's exclusive to Doctor Strange, and you can shoot out portals and maybe your teammates can shoot through them for double damage. But if we did want to go the sheer power route, we have to look no further than Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch. And again, these are both non-tech based heroes, but you could just say you're wearing something that emulates their powers. Focusing on Wanda, she seems to enjoy throwing stuff around with her powers, so maybe guests can drop debris on the spider bots and they can use like a flinging motion with their hands to do so. Captain Marvel can be a really strong power blast. Maybe she does more damage to those boss spider bots that you see later on in the ride. Or maybe she could be like a rapid fire power shot. You know, you just point your arms and an onslaught of energy comes out. This next one's kind of weird. I don't think they would ever actually do this if they do decide to make additional attachments for the Web Slingers ride. But what if they made the Nano Gauntlet an attachment? Now maybe this would be a premium add-on, maybe a little bit more expensive than the rest, but that's because you would be able to snap out a good chunk of the bots away in an instant, with the caveat of a significant cooldown period between snaps. Now I know this sounds kind of overpowered and a little bit boring for the player who does wield the Nano Gauntlet, but my whole goal in this video is to diversify the way that people play on this ride. I want portals popping up on the left, someone shooting webs in the center, and falling debris off to the side. The less copy and paste these feel, the better. And this leads to my personal favorite idea, Shang-Chi rings. Just imagine having the 10 rings on your arm. In my perfect world, you would be able to shoot the rings out, hit a bunch of bots, swing your arm around, and then manipulate them while they're on screen. I really just want to try that out. And please be my guest and suggest your own ideas in the comments, because I really wanted to think of ideas for the 6 original Avengers, but some of them just don't mesh well with the theming of this ride. Like Hulk. Well, what do I give Hulk? Do I have him throw rocks? Do I have him shoot gamma radiation? Do I do like thunderclaps or something? Thunderclaps could actually work. Like have the guests do like that. Like do like a horizontal motion instead of like a vertical outward motion. Well, regardless, I'm just saying like some of the characters just didn't feel right or just didn't feel natural, especially with tech. But I did think of something from my favorite Avenger, Captain America. All this time we've been thinking of projectiles you could spam because that's what people do on the ride. Well, I didn't really want the Captain America add-on to shoot out mini shields because to me that sounded like the easy way out, and maybe that could be the play feature. Instead, I would love to have guests perform an underhand throwing motion and have the shield bounce from bot to bot, and then you just wait for the shield to come back to you, it comes back to you, and you can throw it again. So yeah, that's about it. I ended up creating a lot more ideas for this video than I expected to. It was just really fun to come up with different heroes and just figure out how they would adapt to the ride or how you could adjust their playstyle to really reflect their powers. If you enjoyed what you heard and what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. I cover a lot of MCU content on this channel, so check out the Spider-Man No Way Home review I did. That was like the last MCU video I did. And I do have a big Troll Hunters video coming up, but that's not going to be here for a while. So until then, I'll see y'all later. Bye.